You know that feeling when you're like short of breath, your chest feels so tight, you're almost stuttering with your words and swallowing a lot more because you can't get your words out. This is exactly what happened to me last night. And why? Because it's 1 week until my charity run, when I run the Big Buddha and then drop and do 100 burpees at the top. Yesterday I had this real perfectionism mindset of, okay, it's 1 week to the run, and then these thoughts came in like, what happens if I can't do the time of sub 30? What happens if I have an injury? What happens if I get to the top and feel sick? Because last time I did this run, I was physically sick afterwards, never mind having to then get to the top and then do 100 burpees. So all of these thoughts, and then what happened is I had feelings of anxiety in my body where my chest felt tighter, my heart rate was racing, and I had this moment of like, hang on a minute, I've had this before, what's going on? And it reminded me of when I used to compete. So only a few years ago, I used to represent Great Britain doing dressage. So I traveled all along Europe, and those of us, those equestrian females that know, there's this moment when you're ready, you've done your warm-up, you've spent hours getting your horse ready, there's not a speck of dirt on them, you're plaited up, you're in the show gear, tight jackets, looking all pristine and proper, and as they call you forward, the steward calls you and your horse forward, you just feel that heart rate start to go, okay, this is it. And you almost feel every step as the horse walks closer to the entrance, the steward says, hang on, wait until they call your name. There's that moment of, this is it, right? This is all the years of hard work. This is all of the sweat, the tears, the vet bills, the training fees, the saddle checks, the physio checks, for this moment of 5 minutes in the arena for people to judge, look at me and give me their opinion. Sometimes I think, why do we do dressage, right? Why do we do it? Because that does not make sense to many people. There's that moment when you're going to go in, it's just you and your horse. And for me, I remember feeling the breath. Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, just to slow the heart rate down. Because not only are you as the rider working on yourself, mentally preparing for the test, remembering the test, but you also have to look after your partner in crime, which is obviously your horse. Because you know, if you have any uncertainty, any doubt, any anxiety, guess who's going to feel it? Of course, you're sat on their back, they feel absolutely everything. And there was this one moment with a really beautiful Lusitano gelding who we were doing our first pre-St. George for the team, and going in to the arena, I thought, Nika, this is it. You've got to the dream goal that you wanted to achieve. And I remember thinking, take a deep breath. And as I took a deep breath in and exhaled, I felt his rib cage move with me and with my legs. So when we think about perfectionism and how it actually holds us back as equestrian females, there is a real link, because we are determined, we are competitive, we are driven, we are self-disciplined. It wouldn't take anyone else to get to that level, and to also know how patient you have had to have been to achieve where you are today. So we adopt a very much perfect. I need to be perfect. My horse needs to be perfect. They need to be able to bend left and right on cue, on point. They need to be able to be supple, strong, agile, and the same for us as equestrian females. What can happen though in this mindset of perfect, the next thing, is we can get to a point where you start to self-sabotage because things naturally go wrong in the world, right? Especially when it comes to horses, they might pull a shoe. And if we don't have the understanding of progress, not perfection, it can very easily lead to things like negative thoughts, downward spiral with your thinking, which can then affect your behavior, can affect or bring up different emotions in the body. And all of this can almost catalyst into what I've definitely felt myself as imposter syndrome. Thinking like, oh gosh, how can I do this? Who am I to do this? oh, I'm not good enough to do this. You know, when you get to that level of, even when I moved from the novice level to elementary and then elementary to medium, I remember having these thoughts of like, oh my gosh, who am I to do this? My background is in racing. I used to be a flat jockey. Now I'm here doing dressage. Now it's my responsibility to educate, to train well, to show up every day for these horses and then perform, because they weren't my horses, they were clients' horses. So the added pressure of them paying for me to be there. And all of this can lead to habit stacking of needs to be perfect, everything needs to be right. When in reality, we all know with horses, it's never a steady increase like this. What tends to happen is you go up, you go straight back down, you go up again, you go straight back down, and then as an average, there will be a progression over time. But when you're in it, it can really bring up a lot of these limiting thoughts and also the self-sabotaging behavior. If you resonate with this, comment below and let me know. I'm going to share with you 4 techniques that helped me when I was feeling anxious, when I was feeling like an imposter, and when I got stuck in the perfectionism mindset, those perfectionist thoughts. These techniques, by the way, I've looked into them with more research, are being practiced by Navy SEALs. So these things work, okay? These things have proven strategies from a scientific perspective, what they do to our brain, our vagal nerve, our gut, and our entire nervous system. So, technique number 1 is breath work. Now, before you roll your eyes, breath work can take on so many different forms, but for those of you that have that feeling of shortness in your breath, tightness around your heart area, this is exactly what I felt only yesterday, and I remember these feelings when I used to compete. There is one exercise I want to share with you today called a box breath. So we'll do it together because you can close your eyes, you can inhale for 4, hold the breath for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and then hold for 4 counts. So when I'm closing my eyes, I'm visualizing the box and I am counting and visualizing each outline of the box. Doing this 3, 4, even 5 times in a very short time, you will feel a big difference within yourself. You will feel relief. You will feel peace. The biggest thing I feel is that anxiety is almost stripped away from me and I come back into my body. This is a simple exercise that you can do on your horse, that you can do before you get on your horse. It's a technique you can do in the car, maybe the kids are frustrating you, wherever it is. The box breath exercise is the first technique to help regulate the nervous system and remove the anxiety. The second technique is doing, not thinking. So many females, and I'm going to talk to my female equestrians here because there is so much research to show that it's not that women have different brains to men. Our brains are actually fundamentally the same in terms of like what they are, but how we interpret and how we process emotions is so different to men. So women actually have a very quick ability to feel emotion, which is probably why a lot of females are very empathetic, very compassionate, but also have this intuition, this sixth sense, because our link to feel something is a lot quicker than compared to men. This is just what the research shows. So when we are feeling like imposter or feeling stuck or feeling unsure, instead of thinking your way out of it and thinking, oh, how can I do better? How can I do this? The best thing to do is to do. So actually do something physical. Now that doesn't mean you have to go and run a marathon or do gym or do something that's gonna really raise your heart rate. It could just mean going for a walk, change the scenery. Whatever it is, do instead of thinking. Again, this is a technique that has been proven and that the Navy SEALs use themselves. When we think, we can get very, very quickly stuck in this downward spiral, which can lead us to that perfectionism, that self-sabotaging. Number 3 is self-compassion. Again, I used to get so frustrated thinking, what is self-compassion? So I have to sit there and just think to myself, you are wonderful, you are beautiful. When, you know, we don't want to talk nonsense to ourselves. And I don't mean that I'm not. I just mean when you're feeling low, someone saying to yourself, well, just tell yourself that you're amazing, doesn't resonate with you because you're feeling low. And this is when actually getting up and doing something, whether it's go for a walk, whether it's actually spend time with the horses, you will, by doing that, you will shift your state, you will shift your energy. And then the self-compassion part is talk to yourself how you would talk to your horse. Now, this really resonated with me because I can be in a very low mood or be feeling anxious, and I can see an animal, a dog, a horse, a cat, and then straight away has a smile on my face. I'll go up to them and talk to them, especially if it's like a puppy, right? And they straight away go into your puppy voice, which is like, oh my God, you're so cute, and you pick it up, and it's just so much love that I have for the puppy. And it's that self-compassion that we need to show ourselves when we are in this perfectionism, doing it all kind of mindset. And the fourth technique is actually detaching yourself from your thoughts. So I'm sure you've heard of this. We are not our thoughts. Again, a concept that I really struggled to understand for many years, because I was like, well, if I'm not my thoughts, what am I? Like, who is this voice talking to me? And then when you look into how our brain actually functions, and you realize it's all about nerves and wiring and rewiring, and it makes sense that a lot of us think a certain way and have the same thoughts because of how we've been brought up or experiences that have happened to us in our lives, which forms a neural connection, and that neural connection is brought stronger and stronger and stronger because we've experienced it and because we're constantly having that same thought. Then I realized, right, so if I want to maybe have a better job, or if I want to achieve a goal that I don't have right now, I'm going to have to rewire my thought, that neural pathway, into a different one, so that that can be the new thought coming to me every day instead of the experiences I've had. That to me made a lot of sense. So when you detach yourself from the thought, so for example, yesterday when I had the thoughts of, gosh, I'm not a runner, this is really hard, what happens if I fail, what happens if I don't make the sub 30, what happens if something happens, you know, what if, right? And that then led to the tight chest, my body was talking to me. When I detach myself from the thought and recognize that I am not my thought, I can replace that thought with, well, that was an interesting thought to have. Okay, well, anything could happen on the run, let's face it, that's life. But wouldn't that be a great story to tell? Wouldn't that be an amazing story to share with all of you? And that is the detachment part. It's recognizing that my brain is telling me stories about other experiences that might have gone wrong in my life before or right, and I'm just reliving them. And that is a really powerful thought to have, is I'm not my thoughts. I can change what's going on in here because this is just a neural network that I have the choice and the power to rewire. This led me on to a shift in perspective. Yesterday, going from anxiety to self-sabotage to going for a walk. And this is the bonus tip I'm going to share with you today, is gratitude. Again, saying I'm grateful for, I don't know, anything in your life when you're in a low state doesn't feel real. But when you actively go and do something and you remove technology and you actually walk in your footsteps, so you feel every contact with the ground. If you're on your horse, you're in the arena, you can feel their breath, inhale and exhale, because you're relaxed in your body and you're totally present with your horse. This is a total shift in perspective, and it is so important. Again, linking this to my equestrian females, my riders out there that maybe have worked tirelessly, given so much of their time and effort to an event and it didn't go according to plan. Let's say you had 2 judges that totally marked you in your perspective and everyone else's perspective too low. This can quickly bring up thoughts like, I'm not good enough, that was wrong, that didn't go well, it's my fault, it's this. When in reality, if you take the observer perspective and you're like, do you know what? We have come so far in this period of time. I'm really proud of myself and my horse going into that arena relaxed. I'm so proud of ourselves the way we finally did that flying change with no tension. Okay, the judge might have seen something else, but you know more than anyone how it really felt. And you know more than anyone that how far you've come. And that is so more powerful than any mark, any rosette, or any trophy out there, is knowing in yourself, within yourself, how far you and your horse have come. So when we focus more on these progress, these small, insignificant steps of progress, seemingly insignificant, when we focus on them and we rewire the brain to focus on them, you will step away from this perfectionism. And most importantly, when game day is on, and say you might be having you've come out and the test hasn't been one of your best. Instead of going into self-sabotage, you go into progress mode. You'll be able to regulate your nervous system. You'll be able to detach yourself from your thoughts, and you'll be able to regulate your emotions so much better so that you recover quicker, and guess what? You'll perform even better because you have that control, that self-awareness and self-compassion. If you resonated with this today, comment the word reset below, or visit me on Instagram and send me the word reset, and I will send through my toolkit of exercises to help reset the mind as an equestrian female.